Hello, in this video today we are going to learn about how to estimate the size of our specimens as we're viewing them under the microscope. So we're going to need these two sheets of paper, magnification and field of view handout, and we're going to need the microscope practice handout. That's front and back, and we're going to show our work on this white sheet of paper. Let's start with our yellow handout. We will also need a Post-it note, a ruler, and a pencil today. On the yellow handout, you'll see that there are three different settings we could be viewing a specimen on using our microscopes. At school, we have a red objective lens, a yellow objective lens, and a blue objective lens. And whenever we're viewing something with the microscope, we always want to start on the lowest setting, which is scanning power, and it magnifies our specimen by 40 times. So that is the magnification. 40 times bigger than what we would see with our naked eyes. Once it's focused on scanning power, let's say we're looking at this specimen here. This little guy is something we're trying to get a closer look at. At scanning power, 40 times magnified, we know the distance across our field of view. Our specimen is illuminated with the light shining through this circle, and then all around it is black. And across this field of view, which is a circle, is a known distance, which we know is 4,000 microns. So this unit here is known as microns, and that's what we're going to be using for our length today. So this unit is much smaller than units you see on a ruler because we're dealing with teeny tiny things. So across the field of view is 4,000 microns. Halfway would be 2,000 and everything in between, right? So if our specimen here is about 500 microns in size, it views pretty small right here. So the thing we would want to do is zoom in on the specimen so that we can get a closer look. When we zoom in, we then can see our specimen a little bigger, and that would be on low power with the yellow objective lens, and that is 100 times magnified. That's the full magnification. Now our distance across our field of view has changed. Take a look at how these numbers have changed. Now that we're more zoomed in, this distance across is smaller. We now only have 1,600 microns across our field of view. We can zoom in one more time, and we can view our specimen on high power. Take a look at our specimen now. Our specimen takes up more than our field of view. So normally we would just see what's in the circle here. And we would be getting a closer look at this specimen. Here in this case, because our field of view is only 400 microns across, we're only seeing a portion of our full specimen here. So on high power, the blue objective, it is 400 times magnified, and the distance across is known to be 400 microns. Smaller than this distance because we're zoomed in. And this is the most zoomed in we can be under the microscope. So we're going to use this information to estimate the lengths of different specimens. So let's slide this aside and take a look at our microscope practice handout. On our microscope practice handout, make sure you fill in the top according to your teacher's instructions. And let's take a look. We have a bunch of specimens sketched out here, and we are to, the directions say, find the length of each specimen. Use your handout and box your answers with units. So remember, the units we're using are microns. It's like a fancy M. You might want to practice drawing what those units look like. Let's take a look at this first specimen. It's shown on high power. We want to use a ruler and draw a straight line across our field of view here. So try to line it up so that it is going halfway through your circle, right? A straight line across. Try to get it about halfway. On high power, we know the distance across by using our handout. On our handout, high power we know the distance across is 400 microns. So I want you to label this. We're going to make this kind of like a ruler. On one end is going to be the 0, and all the way on the other end, we're going to say that distance across is 400. Now I want us to fill in the gaps and try to add these additional numbers. So let's try to figure out where halfway is and fill in the other numbers. So I'm just going to estimate and say this is about halfway, and draw your numbers on the top of your tick marks. About halfway in between 0 and 200, we know would be 100. And about halfway in between here, looks like about right there, would be 300. So the first thing you need to do is draw the straight line with your ruler, use your handout, and put in the numbers of the known distance across the field of view based off of the magnification we're using. Now that we have that done, we are to find the length of a specimen, which is the longest straight line we can draw through a specimen. So we wouldn't, in this case, want to get the width of this guy. We want to get the length from end to end. So you're going to take your Post-it note and use it and lay it down on one end of the specimen, right? The edge of the Post-it note lines up with one edge. And you're going to lay it flat onto your specimen and arrange it so that one end to the other end. And you're going to use your pencil to draw a little arrow or tick mark where your specimen ends, right? We're using this end of our Post-it note, and then we're going to draw a little mark to show where it ends. Once we have that mark indicated, we're going to peel up our Post-it note, and then we're going to line it up with the ruler that we have drawn here. And you're going to place it down. And you should get something similar to what I'm getting. It looks like our mark lines up pretty close, if not perfectly, with 300 microns across. So I'm going to remove the Post-it note, and at the bottom right here, I'm going to say that this is about, that's what the little squiggly line is for, 300 microns. Make sure you clearly box your answer. This is how we're going to estimate the sizes or the lengths of our specimen. So we're going to do this for our other specimens. Let's do one more example here. This specimen is shown on low power. So the first thing we need to do is take our ruler, use a ruler, make sure your lines are straight. And we need to annotate this with numbers. On low power, this is a different magnification. Your yellow handout says that the distance across here is 1,600 microns. So we need to copy these numbers down when we're estimating the length of this, because this is viewed under a different magnification. So one end is 0, one end is 1,600, find halfway, and what's in between. You're going to use your Post-it note again. I would suggest erasing your previous mark so you don't get confused. And again, we want to lay this flat down. Try to be symmetrical with your measurements. So you're going to lay it on one end and just kind of lay it down so it covers half of your specimen. And then we're going to draw a little mark to show where the specimen ends. We're going from here to here. Peel that up, compare it with your marks. And it looks like it is about halfway, maybe a pinch more, between 400 and 800. So there is room for some error here, but we should be getting approximately the same estimates. So in this one, I'm going to say this one is about 600 microns long. Okay, so you're going to repeat this procedure for the rest of the specimens here. Start with your straight line, use your yellow handout, take a look at those numbers that you need to use. You might be using scanning, low, or high power. The distances across each of these fields of views are different. When you're done with the front side, you'll be ready to continue on to the back of the page where you guys will be provided with images. So these images might be provided in class. They might be provided on Google Classroom with a Google slideshow. But however the images are provided, make sure you include the name of the specimen, the magnification, and the size. So you're going to draw what you see accurately as possible. Let's say your specimen looks like this. Don't copy that. But let's say this is our specimen. You're going to draw accurately. Use colored pencils. You need to include a title, which should be provided for you. Your magnification, which you can look up. If it says the specimen is being viewed on scanning power, the magnification is here 40 times. If it's on low power or high power, that is also noted on your yellow handout. The size is the estimate. That's what we've been practicing. You draw your straight line across. You add your numbers. And then you use your Post-it note straight through your specimen. And then you compare that with the scale that you have drawn out. Your size should be recorded in microns. The name should be provided, and use color pencils and try to draw accurately, please. You have 4 specimens provided, so make sure you guys work on this. Check in with your teacher if you have questions, or feel free to watch this video again if you need help or get stuck. Good luck, have fun. See you next time.